right, so Healthspan it's a personal revolution as well, right? So, Melissa, what can individuals do today to, to further their own health span outside of hard science?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I would love it if more people were aware of, interested in, and actually well enough prepared to be part of the hard science conversation. That's one of our goals, is to have a better informed public, at the very least, about health span. But what we can all do, and what I hear across the board as I do go to events around the on the longevity health span circuit, is even the scientists that are doing the research into these interventions that could potentially address our health span, our lifespan, just with a drug or a cellular treatment, all of them say you have to move more. It's the use it or lose it concept, and we've gotten away from that in some ways as a society. And yes, of course, there are still lots of people that are very active. It's very different than say 30 years ago. Everybody goes to the gym. It's not a rare thing. People, many more people run marathons, go for hikes, yes, but not enough. Everybody needs to move. It's what we are made to do. And then we also have to take responsibility for our own health spans, although we need to guide people along as well. Again, why it's important to have people like us in this field. But we know what to do, right? I mean, Michael Pollan said it about 30 years ago about food, right? Eat real food, not too much, mostly plants. And that has proven true with science. You don't have to eat only plants. You can eat meat and dairy. And let's not get into a protracted discussion about that necessarily, which ones are right and which are not. I'm not a nutrition scientist, but having a largely plant-based diet, eating fresh food, potentially looking at limiting the amount that you eat, whether you want to call it calorie restriction or you want to do some kind of intermittent fasting. Good to read into the science, because for some people, the concept of fasting is not as good to do as it is potentially for others. And I'm talking about recent science around women of a certain age. Um, Potentially fasting isn't the right way to go, but maybe intermittent fasting would work. But you need to do these things and at least be somewhat vigilant about them. Or the hope is that we can provide information for a general public that needs to know this. So you need to have a good diet. For the most part, people know what that means. You need to move, you need to get good sleep. There are other things that you can do, but if you're doing those three things, and limiting anything that you know is bad for you, right? I mean, I don't think anybody should smoke, but some people do, right? But if you can limit it, if you do, because we definitely know pretty well that that's not good for you, for your health. Limit the things that are bad for you, move, eat well, get good sleep. Then there are other areas we could move into, like try and find joy and enjoy your life. Definitely be social, especially as you're aging. We're made to be social. Humans are social animals. Those are the things that we can do as individuals. And then if you want to be part of the movement, support the science. Read and listen and learn yourself about the science and also about the things that I've been talking about, which really are science-based as well. So those are my thoughts. I'd actually love to hear Bernie's thoughts as well.
Well, I don't know if I want to be as busy as you are, because I know you like to take ocean uh, swims, free ocean swims. That's pretty amazing. I think actually that the best thing older people in the United States should do is not play pickleball, because if you play pickleball, the people around here that I know, they love pickleball. It's a whole social thing, but they're going to chiropractors, orthopods, the ambulance picks them up off the court, and then they heal, and then they're going to take pickleball lessons again. The point is we have to use common sense, right? Seriously, common sense. I mean, I walk. That's my thing. It's not very strenuous, but I used to not walk, and now I walk, and I'm careful what I eat. And I really know raspberry Danish is not a fruit. All right. It took a long time to realize that. So it's a serious subject, but we have to be realistic about it. We're human beings, and part of it is living a full life. So I'm kind of a contrarian. I don't like to be told what I must do. I try to do what I like to do, and in moderation, uh, uh, keep myself going. So I don't have now where it fits in, and why this is an important subject that you brought up, Janae, is that when you look at the Healthspan Action Coalition and you divide all of our organizations to categories, companies, scientific societies, et cetera, there's one called culture and lifestyle. And originally, when we created the Healthspan Action Coalition, that wasn't the thought behind it. After all, we wanted to make sure there was proper government funding and funds available for the basic research. We had other lofty goals. We want to streamline the regulatory systems and advance the field. We want to have workforce development initiatives, so we won't have roadblocks with biotechnology workers unavailable to take advantage. But lifestyle is a part of the population. Biohacking, people that are taking charge of their own lives are wearing a wearable that is going to notify someone if they fall or measure their steps. All of this is taking personal responsibility, a democratization and a societal movement that is a constituency of the overall Healthspan Action universe, that an ecosystem. So we recognize that. And we, of course, concerned about the bad actors or scams and other things that are just, I refer to as woo-woo science, not real stuff. But nevertheless, there's so much out there that's available, and we owe it to ourselves to take advantage and investigate what's available. And if it fits, wear it. I mean, this is a real possibility. It shows people are now becoming self-aware of their own health. Nothing is inevitable. We can change things for the better.
Well said. I'm going to come back to a couple years back where we first met, Bernie, and that was at the Longevity Summit Dublin back in 2022. It was the inaugural event, and that's where we were first exposed to Brian Johnson's blueprint. And sitting in that audience, listening to it, at first, I was dismissive, but when I thought about it deeply that night in my room, I realized that he's basically going to become the face of what you guys just mentioned. This is a common sense stuff. Move around, eat well, have community and so forth. These are, all common sense things that people have to do. Get good sleep, and everything is it's very contextual within. It's very personal. Like what I eat is not going to be the same as you, and so forth. So it's a lot of trial and error that one has to do. But I think Brian represents a lot of that. But the whole point of, I think, what he's doing and what you're saying is you're buying yourself time for a future that's coming into being, where we can actually tackle these age-related diseases in a more impactful way to increase health span. We're not there yet, but if you do these things, you might live to a point where they'll become commonplace. So doing all this stuff, it is very important. It is a personal revolution in many ways. And I think people have to try different things, fail at different things to learn, to know what works best for their context, because that's really important. I think Brian Johnson represents a lot of that, despite all the hate he gets. If you sit down and think about it, what he's talking about is nothing new here. This is all stuff we already know, and he just somehow represents that now. But anyhow, I got a couple of thoughts here. So now we have real tools, wearables, continuous glucose monitoring, AI-powered diagnostics that let people track their health metrics in ways we never could before. Makes this personal revolution a lot easier. There's a lot of hype in this space, right? The key is separating the science-backed interventions from flashy wellness trends. That's how you keep yourself on the right side. Hopefully, a lot of our audience here will get a lot of nuggets of wisdom out of all this and use them in their own lives.